All right, hello YouTube. We should be live on the stream. And let me make sure it's actually going, and then we'll kind of get into my review. And as we kind of get into this, I also want to know what your guys' thoughts are on a certain thing. And for this is for also people that are watching the stream later on, and even as people join into the stream as we're going on in this review, let me know. Would you guys rather see my instant reaction right after the episode drops, like my raw reaction, not really like planned out really, I guess? Or do you guys want to see more of like my Rings of Power streams where they're more like formulated, I have every scene written down, and we go into a more detailed analysis? Those streams will always be longer because I'm taking active notes and I am preparing exactly what I want to do in the stream. With these streams, I can only do it one way or another, because if I do it that way, they're gonna have to be on Mondays because I get off at 8 o'clock. So by the time I'd be able to get everything going, it would be like 9:30, 10 before I even maybe started. Actually, probably like 10 before I started. And at that point, it's like most of you guys would probably miss a stream anyway. But I want to say this is going to also be a spoiler review, right? So yeah. I'd rather stream the day after with more detail. Okay. I appreciate your thoughts. Also, you guys, you can be blunt as hell if you'd like. I kind of agree to some extent. I also think it kind of helps me because I think I push these out and they're not as focused, but I feel like, I want to, get it going as soon as possible. Thank you for the comments on the beard, Kato. I appreciate it. But I will say, so off of the stream title and the thumbnail, you guys can kind of tell that I had some mixed feelings on this episode, where I really liked the episode, but I feel like there should have been another episode. I feel like we should have had the younger actresses and actors for one more episode to develop Alicent and Rhaenyra's relationship a bit more, and also to develop the Harwin Strong and Rhaenyra plotline. Because it definitely feels like we missed something. It feels like we hit the mid-season, and it is more like we have two different stories almost. It feels like we are like majorly in different time periods, right? Which we are. So I thought that was a bit weird, but yeah. So are we doing the bracket this week? We are going to be doing the bracket probably Wednesday. I think we're going to do it Wednesday. We're also in that stream as well. We are going to probably do a preview for episode 7 while we're doing the bracket as well. I'm not sure what the bracket's going to be yet. I haven't looked at the poll recently. I think the best theories, so we'll have like a list of like 62 theories, and you guys can choose whichever ones you want that are like either your favorites, you think are unique, cool, whichever. It's up to you guys on how you want to do that. Probably say the day after. All right. Ian and Paxton, are you agreeing that I should do it day after, or are you agreeing on my thoughts on the episode? So yeah, but getting back into that, this is my one major gripe with this episode. And as a whole, as a standalone episode, I thought it was good, right? I really like the things they're doing to set up the episode. But let's take a look at some plot points that are basically just dropped from last episode. So last episode, let's go back. It stops on basically Joffrey. This is the kind of lover of Laenor being killed at this wedding by Kristen Cole. And Kristen Cole literally kills him at a wedding, right? Joffrey only pulls out a knife or dagger after he is being assaulted. Let's keep that in mind. Kristen Cole is then so desperate, and he is so he just feels like he's screwed and all of his emotions are getting to him that he almost commits suicide. And then we jump to this episode, and there's no, we don't talk about what happened in that episode. Like, how does he is still a Kingsguard? Like, it doesn't make any sense. We see Harwin Strong basically getting reprimanded and all of these things later on for beating up Kristen Cole. But we just saw Kristen Cole last episode do the exact same thing, but even worse. Because at least Kristen Cole and Harwin are kind of having like a a brawl. It's literally like a sword fighting. Like we're training the kids how to sword fight. And Kristen Cole is being a dick in this situation, right? So that's a little bit more forgiving in my opinion. But then you go over to this thing where Kristen Cole literally beats the dude to death, who is also a major important person to Laenor, who is in line to become the king consort, and there are no repercussions from it. We don't get any explanation. Basically, we have to come up with, as the audience, I guess Alicent smoothed it out and was just, she convinced Viserys that it was fine. I thought that was kind of weird. Now, the second thing is Alicent kind of feels like a different person, but I don't know, like I'm like 50-50 on Alicent, because Alicent comes off as very sympathetic and very, we understand her motivations. And even the end of the episode, we're kind of like, okay, this is Alicent kind of turning into boss mode Alicent, and she's kind of taking over her life and stuff like that. But yeah, so let me read a comment real quick. This video broke me, but I'm in the same boat. IDK, I feel about this, how I feel about this episode, but there was definitely a lot of negatives about it. I kind of agree, but I also think there was a lot of positives. That's why I say it's a mixed bag, because I'm like on one side of it, I'm like, I really like a lot of things they did in this episode, but on the other side of it, I'm like, we did a lot of things wrong in this episode. I don't know. I am not of that opinion, Matthew. I think Alicent's character. So a lot of people have said in the show that they've leaned a lot more into the Black's side of it. So Rhaenyra's side of it is the protagonist, and Alicent's side is the villains, more or less. And I think they leaned way more into Alicent being the bad guy. Like, she comes off as just not a nice person, which we understand why, right? Because Rhaenyra lied to her and stuff like that. And I've kind of talked about how it's kind of like, kind of whatever motivation, because, you know, she did the same thing to Rhaenyra. But she just comes off really dumb. And then so there's this other thing that we get to in the, like, it's more of like the middle to the middle end of the episode. And Rhaenyra is like, hey, Alicent, let's marry Jace. This is her oldest son. And we'll marry him to your daughter. And that would unite the two, like, feuding, like, royal families right now. And we're also going to give you a dragon egg, or a clutch of dragon eggs. This is a very good offer. Like, we get that Rhaenyra is kind of feeling like she's kind of getting pushed into a box because of all the things going on. And she is, like, when Alicent goes, like, this is kind of coming out of fear more than it is, like, generosity and stuff like that. But it is a generally good plan. And I don't understand why she would say no. I guess maybe it's because she wants sole power of the throne for the High Towers, like, through Aegon. But at the same time, you accomplish the same goal. I don't know. I agree. I agree, Paxton, on what you said there, because it really, I don't like, I liked that they were going for the idea that Rhaenyra makes a lot of mistakes. Alicent kind of has a rough life, so it's interesting to choose between the two. But in this episode, Rhaenyra is very much the protagonist. Like, it's not even close. Like, the two are very different, right? But yeah, it's just, I don't know. There were some interesting things in this episode. Let me go back and read chat. I haven't really been reading chat because I've kind of like been getting off on my own thing. Theory bracket would be so cool. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I will say, guys, if you have any theories that you want to be in it, let me know, because I already have like an entire list like already ready to go. But if I'm missing any, or you think any of them should deserve to be on there, let me know down in the chat. Or even if you guys are rewatching this later on as a video, leave them in the comments if you guys want to see something in the bracket. This is the same thing I have to do when we do a Targaryen bracket eventually, is if you guys want someone in there, you're going to have to tell me. He also punched Laenor in the face. Agreed. So this is my whole problem. And then, so Kristen Cole, this is the other problem I have with the Kristen Cole and Harwin scene. You can obviously tell, okay, from Viserys' point of view, that Kristen Cole is very biased to like to Aegon and Aemond, right? They're getting more hands-on training. They're the ones kind of like, why is Kristen Cole training them how to fight? Outside of because we need this drama scene. That was really weird. Like, I like what happens because of it, but logically, should he really be training them? And why would Viserys let him train them? So this is my thing, is this can all be explained away if you have that Alicent is smoothing things over with Viserys and telling him how great Kristen Cole is as a guy and all this stuff. It would make more sense then. Because then you're like, okay, well, Viserys, obviously, like, Alicent's been telling him all these great things about him. I don't know. I feel like Kristen Cole's character really got negatively impacted for me because of the end of last episode and then this episode not really concluding that plot at all. So that's my big negative. For the most part, I liked a lot of other things. Big spoilers. So Laena dies. I actually was sad. Like, I knew it was coming, right? But her death, man, it hit me hard because I really like the actress that was portraying her, and I think she did a really good job portraying Laena as like a really good mother and wife character for Daemon. I want to say this is another huge improvement I liked from this episode. We see Daemon a little bit on his softer side. We see that 10 years, he's kind of matured a bit, right? And I like this Daemon. I like Daemon trying to be a father. And trying to be like a husband, right? And we still see that he's not perfect at it, and he's not been the greatest husband or dad, but he's not doing crazy stuff. And that's kind of a theme we've seen from this show, is every single episode, Daemon's doing something crazy. And it's even more heartbreaking because you can tell Daemon, maybe he didn't have the greatest feelings for Laena, but you can tell when Laena dies, like, he's actually upset. And I really liked that. Matt Smith does another great job as Daemon and portraying that character. So I really liked that part. I loved Daemon's storyline in this entire episode, which is something that I haven't really said since like episode 1 or 2. I really liked Daemon in this episode, and I liked that we changed the pace up, right? We get to see some more development of his character with, his kids and all that stuff. So I really liked that. What else did you guys say? Also, yeah, the Abe Lincoln beard's coming in. I know I get it a lot, but thank you guys. Thank you. Glossy did change your profile picture. Also, I want to say, Glossy, the last stream we did, somebody in chat or somebody commented after the stream. They were like, I don't know who Glossy is, but I appreciate the Glossy slander. And I was just like, damn, you got a hater, Glossy, I guess. I feel like that. Yeah, I read that already. The small council was the best scene in this episode, and another moment that could have agreed. I really liked that scene. I think it was a good scene, but the idea of like her turning down Rhaenyra's offer just felt weird to me. Alicent having Larys on her side isn't helping. Yeah, and that's my problem. I think they very much painted it now that like. I think the vast majority of audiences are probably on Rhaenyra's side just because of the way the episode was handled. But yeah. Also, I want to say I really like Laenor. I like Laenor a lot more in this episode than when his younger self was playing. He didn't really have a character. They really developed Kristen Cole. What do I keep saying, Kristen Cole? Laenor as a character in this episode, and I really enjoyed him. So I think they did a really good job with the Velaryon like kids in this episode. They did a really good job with that. The theory about, or hi Ashley, let me get to you first, but then Glossy, the theory about Larry's been agreeing here. Okay, all right, I screenshotted it. I will consider it, putting it on the list. I don't remember everything I have on there, but yeah. Didn't like Kristen Cole's arc in this. Yeah, I agree with you, Matthew. I agree. Yeah, so that's the thing. I think Alicent should understand that, and this is something I've talked about, right? With even if Harwin isn't like is the father, right? Is that it doesn't matter if the public, the vast public, right, of Westeros is not in King's Landing, right? And they will accept these kids. So if you marry it, like, it doesn't matter. I don't know. Also, yeah, Glossy, that Aegon scene was traumatizing. I will say though, I've liked the way they've done Aemond, which is something I didn't think I was gonna expect. So Aemond is the younger of the brothers, I guess, of Alicent and Viserys. I thought he was really good. I hate Aemond and Fire and Blood for reasons we'll get to later on down the line. But I did like his character portrayal in this episode, how he was kind of bullied and stuff, and it kind of makes more sense as to what he'll become later. So I liked that. Daemon and Laena really brought up Jaehaerys and Alysanne feeling. I kind of agree on that one. I kind of agree. I personally thought it was really good. My favorite episode, Olivia Cook, is amazing. Luke, who did Olivia Cook play? I don't know the name of the actresses and all that. But also, I will say, I would say all of the actors and actresses that were aged up did a fantastic job. I think Rhaenyra's actress did a great job. Alicent's did a great job. But yeah. Wait, what? Not me having a hater? No, like legitimately. Like, go back to, I think it was, what was the last stream we did? Rings of Power? Go back to the last Rings of Power stream and go into the comments, and you'll see that somebody literally specifically said, like, your name. It was funny. And also about the Corlys, like, not questioning his grandchildren. He probably did, but he just, like, overlooked it, more or less, because it's like, it's Corlys's way to power. It's this whole idea that it doesn't matter if they're actually Laenar's. The Velaryons and Rhaenyra as a whole have the power to back it up anyway. So it's like, that's their route to power, is backing Rhaenyra. So that's how I look at it. Did Daemon give Laena the choice to have the C-section or not? And she said she wanted to die another way. I was a bit confused by that. How is she able to get out to? That was a little questionable. I think the way she was trying to say she wanted to die was that she didn't want to die like how that was about to be a spoiler. But for instance, like people dying of old age, where they die in bed, like a lot of like soldiers, right? When they get older, they say they want to die in battle. Like there's a lot of Baratheons that are kind of like that. And sorry, I'm a stream. Oh, stream is dropping frames. Hold on. Are we good? Are we good now? I think we're good now. We dropped frames, like I saw it in OBS, like quite a bit there. Hopefully we should be good now. But yeah, I think she was more or less saying like she didn't want to die like a I'm in my bed dying scene. Like she wanted to die, you know, dragon riding, or she wanted to die a cool death, I guess, right? So I think her way of doing that was like, instead of me dying because dudes are cutting me open and dying in childbirth, let me go out dying to my dragon. Which also, we got to see Vhagar, which was so cool. Vhagar looks so good in this episode. Big props to them. I think they designed Vhagar really well. I wish they didn't answer every what if question. Some mystery is nice. I agree, mystery is good. Like, I don't think they needed to have at the end of the episode that, like, this whole scene where Larys explains to Alicent that he's the one that, like, burned his father and brother and stuff like that. That wasn't needed. That wasn't needed. Because I think Alicent would have implied it anyway. And I think it keeps more of the mystery around the clubfoot, right? Whereas viewers, we have to pay attention. Like, okay, he hired these, or not really hired, but he set these guys free and then told them to do this for their freedoms, right? So, yeah. Now, I will say, you guys bring up a good point that it is weird how Laena's death is portrayed. I thought her actual death scene, though, like where she, like, it's very emotional, and I liked the way they framed it. It could have been done in a better way, though. I do agree with you guys. I think it's a little weird that she's like dying of pregnancy or whatever, and she walks out to her dragon. It would have made more sense if she goes to Daemon. She's like, you know, do me this one honor, and like they move her to the dragon, and then the dragon kills. That would have made more sense. But yeah, I think they could have done that better. Larys also had a big episode, a very big episode for character development in his way, and really showing that he is really the villain. Like, he's the big villain. So yeah. yes, Aemond is cute and sympathetic right now. Yes, he is right as of right now, and we've seen it. Like Aegon and Aemond are a bit. They're definitely of the children right now, the crueler side of it. But yeah, right now I really like his. I think his development's pretty good. Alicent, okay, yeah, she did a very good job. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with you guys on the chats. I'm so far behind. I thought it would have been so powerful if Daemon gave his wife the choice to have Viserys denied his, but we didn't see it. Yeah, agreed. I think it would have been really good, Ashley, like how I was talking about how if Daemon like goes up to her and asks her what she wants to do, and she kind of is like, you know, do me this one honor and all of this for the children I've borne you or whatever, and we just move on, and she's basically carried out to the dragon, and then Vhagar kills her. I don't really understand how Larys went from a good relationship with his brother to being happy to murder him. Is his relationship with Alicent romantic? Perhaps it could be, but I see it really as the Clubfoot is gaining power, because that's what he's doing in that situation, and we've already seen the Clubfoot is kind of a Littlefinger type, but he also is kind of like a little psychotic. So I see that as him gaining power. Also, want to point out Helena saying that Aemon will have to close his eye to get a... Yeah, I thought that was a really good, like, foreshadowing and stuff. That was really cool. So I was kind of surprised by the Clubfoot. I think I was a little too. I think they were very upfront with his character. Good. Okay, thank you, guys. I don't know what happened there. I don't think I've ever had that happen on stream, but yeah. Alicent would definitely not hook up with Larys. It just goes against her. Yeah, Alicent at this point is more of the politician than Rhaenyra is, and Alicent knows not to do that at this point. So yeah. Daemon didn't look like he was expecting her to be out there, so I was so confused. Yeah, I agreed. It's kind of weird because it makes it look like, you know, one of those comedy scenes where it's like, oh, where'd she go? And then she's just randomly like out there. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little weird. It was weird having some people age significantly and then others. Yeah, but I just chalk that up as that's kind of how it had to be, Matt. Because you're not going to get a bunch of different actors for every single person. So I give him a pass for that. It was done, to be honest. Daemon didn't even say do it when... Yeah, I think they could have handled it better. I like the emotion and the impact of what actually happens, but I think they could have done it in a much better way where he like asks her what she wants to do. We see a little bit more human side of Daemon, and then we can still have the same thing play out that happens on screen, but just have them like carry her to him, or like Daemon's like orders them to do that, and then we just cut to where she's in front of Vhagar and Vhagar does it. Like, you know, they could have done it a little bit better. Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's what they basically did to try and humanize Alicent. Because I don't think Alicent fully understood who she was talking with. Before this happens, I don't think she truly understood who the Clubfoot was. Right? The Clubfoot is a very dangerous individual, and I think Alicent knows that now. And I think Alicent kind of understands how much this is a big deal. Thank you, Ethan Show, for the super chat. And also, the alerts finally worked. Thank you, by the way, Ethan. I appreciate it. Did you super chat anything? What do you think of Aemond, LDK? I thought Aemond was very good in this episode, Ethan. I thought he was very good. I was not expecting that. Because Aemond, to me, is one of my least favorite characters in Fire and Blood when it comes to the, I guess, green side of it, and even the Dance of the Dragons as a whole. He's one of my least favorite characters because he is an antagonist. He is like our main... If you are someone that is a big supporter of Rhaenyra, he's one of the biggest villains for the show. So yeah, but I really liked the way they humanized his character and the way they showed why he becomes who he is, I guess. I really liked that. I also thought Alicent came off a lot like Cersei in her talk with like Aegon, where it's like Aegon clearly doesn't care about the throne. Like, dude, the dude was literally jacking off like out the window like that. I don't. Also, okay, this makes me think about something. We saw not one, but 2 births in this episode. And here I was back like, oh, what was it, like episode 2, complaining that, oh, why didn't we get to see Aegon the Second being born, or Aegon basically getting born? It's a pretty big like birth, right? Like it's one of the main characters of the entire story. But we don't see his. But then we see these other, like, this is what I'm saying. Like, it was kind of weird. Like, early on, they cut out things that I feel like should have been there. But, yeah, thank you again, Ethan, as well. I know he's evil, but he is my favorite. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. You can always have your favorite there. Okay. Dude, I'm so far behind on comments. I think this is the most comments I've had that I'm just struggling to get through them all. Did anyone else notice that Jace's dragon looks like the little green dragon and How to Train? Yeah, that kind of does now that you actually mention it. I think everything is good, but Laena and that storyline felt off. I actually really like the storyline until you guys have kind of brought up, like, the ending, right? Like, I think the way she, like, walks to then Vhagar is kind of stupid now that I kind of see your guys' thoughts on it. And this is going to be the difference, right? When you have these pure reaction stuff, you guys are going to change my mind on a lot of things. But yeah. So I think from now on, though, we are going to be doing these streams on Monday. A lot of you guys have said, you know, we should go for the more like the formulaic streams where they're going to be longer. We're going to go through every single scene. So they'll be a lot longer. They'll be like, especially when this episode, I think, was like almost an hour straight. Those streams will probably be more like an hour and a half instead of however long this one is. But, yeah. What does IFY mean? Am I dumb? I feel like I'm pretty young, but I have no idea what that means, Matthew. What does IFY? What does that mean? But I thought Vhagar looked good. Also, I officially feel more sorry for Viserys than I do Aenys. Yeah, agreed. She killed her baby. Well, the thing is, Matthew, her baby was like, it's the same thing with Viserys in episode 1. There was a very probably small chance that her baby was going to survive. Yeah, I prefer the death in the show, but she should have gone home first. Yeah, that would have been nice to have seen as well. Yeah, I know. See, I get what you guys are saying about. Oh God, I hit my light. I see what you guys are saying, like on her killing her child, basically. But I think this is a show about like people, right? We got in this episode that Laena doesn't want to die that way. Right? She doesn't want to die birthing a child, right? It goes back to Rhaenyra's fear, right? About getting married and all the stuff that people die in childbirth all the time in this world. And I think realistically, she saw that there was probably a low chance her baby was going to survive. Agreed, Billy Bob. I really liked Vhagar. I think Vhagar looked really good. I think it would have been better if she died in childbirth and Daemon carried her Vhagar instead of that. I could have seen that as well. But see, the problem is it kind of goes again. Well, I guess it'd be more tragic if Laena goes out the exact way she didn't want to go out. I don't know. I liked Laena's character portrayal, by the way. So I think that was good. What's your opinion on the betrayal of Aegon so far? It seems like they're making him out to be unkingly. So this is kind of how he was in general, in my opinion. Like, when we look at a plot point that comes on later on, and a lot of you are going to know what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to be as vague as possible for people that don't know. But there is this situation where they are looking for Aegon. It's a very important, like, event. He's needed. And basically, he's, like, hooking up with a woman, like, I don't remember if it's like in a barn or whatever, but it's like really unkingly, really not a good look. Aegon II to me is not very kingly in general, and he's someone that like has to be convinced to go against Rhaenyra, kind of how he was in this episode. He is not someone that takes the political game serious, especially early on. I want to talk about Aemon in the next episode and what it's setting up. But fucking spoiler, hold my tongue. That's fair enough. I haven't actually seen, I didn't watch the trailer, so we'll talk about that probably Wednesday. Jace realizing he's a bastard makes his actions with the dragon seeds later makes sense. I like that part. Agreed. Yeah, I think that was a really good part. And I think it makes sense. Just the way they portrayed it in the show, where Harwin has a very active role in their lives, it would kind of make sense. And especially with all the rumors going on and how Harwin defends them and treats them, it makes sense that Jace would kind of understand that and would kind of ask the question. Aegon seems to be worst of the Green Kids. I think they will make Aemon sympathetic. I don't know about that yet. I think it's more like Aemon's still kind of a kid, and he hasn't really gotten to the point where there's a point that we are going to get to with Aemon where it's going to change him. And I think, yes, they're going to make him sympathetic, especially in that moment. But we are going to see why he's not sympathetic, I think, as it goes on. But I have not read the books. Is Helaena just weird or what? We actually really don't get a ton on Helena's actual character, I don't think. I don't specifically remember Helaena because she's just not... She's kind of a... She's a weird character, right? Because, like, she's not the most important when it comes to the actual story. For the Dance of the Dragons, she doesn't do much. But I always, like... I kind of picked her as more of, like, a dreamer type character. Not, like, a weird character. Kind of like Luke says later in your response to that. Jocelyn, he was like that in the books. He didn't really care to be king. It's more of Alicent and Otto making... Yeah, it's more of people are pushing him to do things than him actually wanting to do those things, especially early on. Now, later, it does change a bit, but especially early on. Also, Viserys is such a bad king. We talked about Alicent not accepting the Rhaenyra's offer, but why did... Okay, so yes, that's the other thing. I forgot to mention that because I was thinking about that in the same... When they're in the hallway or they're going up the stairs... Viserys is like basically like to Alicent, like, come on, take the deal. It's a good deal. Like, this makes a lot of sense. It could unite our family and make peace. Viserys, you should not need to convince Alicent. You are their parent. You're the dad. You are the king. And I know Viserys doesn't take initiative in this show, and he does in the books. He even takes even less initiative. But this feels like a really weird one. Because also, why is Rhaenyra even talking to Alicent? If I was Rhaenyra, I would have gone straight to my dad and been like, hey, why don't we just marry your guys' kids, or your kid, your daughter, my son, and that'll be it, right? Both sides will be happy. Why even bring this up to Alicent? You know, like, it doesn't... She doesn't need to. Because Alicent is the mother and Viserys don't want trouble, or doesn't want trouble. Yes, but he already has trouble. He already has trouble. That's the problem. And I agree, Glossy, which is weird because it didn't start out that way. Viserys kind of had control in the relationship, and then Alicent kind of has her, like, boss moment. And that's another thing. If we had another episode, we could have established how Alicent starts to take charge in the relationship. We don't really know it. So that's my thing, is I really feel like we should have gotten another episode with the younger actresses before the time skip. I think it would have helped a lot of these plots and made this episode even stronger than it is already. Aemon is going to be one of favorite characters in this. For you, he probably will. Viserys is rarely asserts his authority even before he gets ill. Now it seems even like... Yeah, my thing is, Luke, is I think they're kind of playing on the idea that he's getting more and more sick, and he becomes less and less authoritative, basically. And where I kind of look at that is that early on, he has a lot of tough decisions to make, right? But this is an easy decision. Like, that's what I think is what's interesting, is that even Viserys getting an easy decision to just overrule his wife and just be like, yeah, this makes complete sense for the realm, and it makes kind of everybody happy besides Alicent. Like, I think even Otto would have been okay with this. This would have made sense in his eyes. Because he gets what he wants. He gets his bloodline on the throne, and their blood is now tied into the Targaryens through both lines. It makes sense. It's like almost foreshadowing to kind of what will kind of happen later on. He just wants to play with his Lego set. Fair. I will not accept Aemon's slander. Okay. Right now, there's no Aemon slander, and he's a very well-written character. I just don't like him. I just don't like him. And how are you, House of the Stag? How's it going? My guy's been making some banger YouTube videos, so subscribe to that, man, if you have not. Love a good Martell Dorn mention, BTW. You love to see it. You love to see it. Especially after they got destroyed in Game of Thrones. It's nice to see them, getting a little attention. Agreed. Also a good mention of the Blackwoods and the Brackens. She's now officially a kinslayer. That's fair. Aegon just wants to jack off and drink. Yeah, well, he's gonna evolve. He's jacking off now. But you saw him. He's been eyeing up them women. That man knows what he wants. I noticed Aegon looking at the maids in the training scene, and they were just legit afraid. Well, wouldn't you? Look at Aegon. He's a weird looking dude. Hi Evie, how are you? No, I'm joking. Aegon is probably they saw Aegon jacking off out the window. There you go. Per Mushroom's account regarding Aegon, I got you, brother. I'll leave a spoiler comment on the screen after it's done so I can talk about it. Fair enough. Do you think if Daring had lived while his brothers had died, would he have? I think he would have been a good king. I think out of all of the children of Alicent and Viserys, like male-wise, he would have been the best one as a king. Because one of them didn't really want to be it, and the other one was cruel, pretty much. And yeah. I liked Helena's scene in this. Okay, yeah. I thought she had a good scene. I thought most of the scenes were good. There's just points that I disliked. Same. If Aegon hurts her, I wouldn't get your hopes up. Corlys is like Robert Baratheon, that they both have the coolest kids. That's fair. Rhaenyra's proposal was a test for Alicent to call her out on her intentions to support her son as heir. Why else would she object to the marriage? Agreed. I think Rhaenyra had a lot of motives in that, because Rhaenyra wins regardless of what happens in this situation. Right? If her proposal is accepted, what happens? Well, she kind of gets the greens off her back for now, because again, they're going to be married into the family. They'll be happy. Also, it kind of cements that, yes, the Velaryon kids are actually Velaryons, right? But if she denies it, it makes Alicent look really selfish and someone that kind of has her own motives, that is trying to get her own children on there. I just saw this comment. Paxton Price, which is your favorite house of them all? I would probably say the Targaryens. Probably. And if you're talking main A Song of Ice and Fire show or book series, whichever, I would say probably the Baratheons. But I would say as a whole, like lore and everything and all that, I would say the Targaryens. And then also the show, I would go Rhaenyra's side of the Targaryens. It's true. Didn't see the Rhaenyra. Should have just went to Viserys and declared the marriage. Yeah, agreed. True, lady. That is correct. Otto is too stuck to the idea of the Lords of the Realm rejecting a female ruler. Well, I think the thing is here is it doesn't really matter, because eventually it's going to go to his line anyway. Like, I think that would have satisfied him enough to not test war and the annihilation of his house. Oh, I just realized something with marriage proposal. It's important for later on. You know what I mean, Grease. Yes. I agree. Daemon was so caring to Laena. I really liked their scenes together. I agree, Evie. I agree. And I'm glad you're good. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I really liked Daemon in this episode. Outside of kind of the stuff we've talked about in this episode so far about kind of the ending of that. Yes, Aegon is definitely trying to shoot his secret sauce all across King's Landing. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Billy Bob. This episode did a very good job of setting up and building the tension for the future episodes in the season. It felt like we needed another scene in there. You love Stannis? I do love Stannis. I also love, like, I'm gonna make a video this week, I think, that's gonna be basically talking about the comparisons between Renly and Stannis, and then also like Rhaenyra and like Aegon to a degree. So yeah, I really like the Baratheons in the main story. I think they are some of the most intriguing. I love Robert Baratheon, love Stannis, love all the characters there. Yeah, Baratheon strong, agreed. Hello, Bridget, how are you? Rhaenyra does not respect Laenor at all. I mean, did you hear what he talked about at the beginning? He literally goes up to Rhaenyra and he's like, "Was there a lot of pain?" Man, being a woman must suck. Like, dude, your wife just gave birth, is having to walk with her baby through the courts and all this while trying to keep her shit together. Laenor, could you be a little bit more understanding, my guy? Like, this woman is literally letting you sleep around with all these dudes, and literally, you, like, I like Laenor, but he's very oblivious at times. I love all the kids in the show, good and bad. Yeah, I think they all have, I think they've established a lot of the kids pretty well. We haven't really seen a lot of Luke, really. He doesn't really have much of a personality yet, but it's because he's a lot younger. Also, Household used to have a lord called Elmo and his heir. Yeah, I thought that was really funny. Like, George sometimes, like, he makes these such exotic names and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden he's just like, Elmo and Kermit. I'm just like, bro, George, you're a clown. You're a clown. Okay, let me think of some other stuff that we didn't really focus on in this. I feel like we got through a good amount of the episode, though, just answering questions and stuff like that. Laenor is the comic relief. I think at times he is the comic relief, yeah. I thought it was an interesting decision at the end of the episode to already have Rhaenyra going to Dragonstone. I thought that was a weird idea there because we don't see that happen until a bit later in the book because of an event that happens probably in next episode. But it will be interesting to see how that kind of all happens. I hope people don't send hate to the Greens actor or actors like people did to Joffrey's actor. Agreed. By the way, I just want to point this out. I love Jack Gleason. Like, dude, the guy seems like the nicest guy on the planet, and he played the most sadistic dude probably ever seen on television. I thought that was so funny. One of the best actors on the, like, if I was doing a video talking about the best actors or actresses on Game of Thrones, he literally would probably be like close to #1. Even it was Clubfoot killing his brother and father for Alicent and her father. Agreed, because the whole idea was like Alicent's like, okay, if he resigns, I can get my father back. Now my father will definitely support me and will not be kind of as Lionel Strong was very unbiased and he tried to give good counsel and he did a very good job of that to Viserys. Whereas if Otto comes back, Otto, we know what Otto's going to be doing. How strong does that happen in the book? Yes. We're not told who does it. The main kind of like suspects in the book is like Daemon, the Clubfoot, and like Corlys. Those like your main suspects. I think a lot of people, myself included in the book, thought it was Clubfoot. So yeah, that does happen though. Aegon channeling his inner home. Dude, that scene, like, popped up and he's going ham and I'm just like, what the fuck's going on? Like, I literally looked at this and I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, what is going on? Paxton supports House Baratheon. You love to see it. Loved Alicent's glow up. Yeah, she definitely had a glow up. I agree. Jack Gleason just actually got married. That's awesome, by the way. I was just telling my friend about Kit Harington because you guys said he was like cheating on Rose Leslie and all that. And I broke their hearts too. I can't believe our boy John did that. That's crazy. Rip Harwin, yeah. He was a good character for like, an episode. That seems like a good theme is that we keep introducing super interesting characters and then they die in the same episode. But yeah. I hope his wedding turns out better in real life than it did in Game of Thrones. Hopefully. I didn't think it was Clubfoot in the books. Who did you think it was in the books, Billy Bob? Thanks, Jen. So what was the tongue cutscene? So the idea here, I believe, is probably like so they can't tell what the Clubfoot did. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'll let you guys go free, right? I'll let you guys go free. But You ain't telling anybody shit. And also, you're gonna do something for me, and now you have no way to tell anybody. It's it's one of those situations. It's kind of what I got at. And him releasing them out while like cutting their like tongues off is like, okay, yeah, that they had a punishment. You can't say we just let them out for no reason. LMAO, they told you that? Oh, I told. Oh, yeah. Well, Glossy, I couldn't remember. Okay, I know somebody did. Okay. You know what, Glossy? I'm sorry. Glossy, thank you for your information. Okay, we love you. Okay. You're the queen amongst all of the horny men in this chat. You and Ashley and Evie, you're like, yeah, you got to keep the horny boys in chat in check. So I don't have an opinion on the new Rhaenyra actress yet, but she ain't winning me. I like the new actress for Rhaenyra. I thought she did a pretty good job. She looks so different in real life, by the way, without the wigs and stuff like that. She looks very different, I will say. But yeah, you guys have anything else you would like me to talk about before we wrap up the episode? I will say I would give the episode... Ooh, I'm trying to figure it out. What's my score for this episode? I'm going to give it another solid 8. I feel like I've been like that pretty much the entire season. Has just been kind of hovering around an 8. I had problems with it, but I liked majority of it. Also, I just realized I had my like mouse on the chat the entire time. That's not what you like to see. Yo, when Alicent assures Aemond he will have a yeah, that was a really good like little wink to the book viewers. I thought it was nice. The new Rhaenyra is really doing it for me. Got me feeling like Aegon. Wait, what? Oh. God damn it! I just realized what you meant by that statement. Oh no, you gotta chill, water. By the way, speaking of water, I've now got my mom addicted to Aquafina water. Like she was talking to her and her friends, and she was like, "Yeah, they didn't have the water I liked. Like I've been used to like all these stuff like that, but my son Eric got me, kept getting Aquafina. I really like Aquafina now. None of it else tastes as good." And I'm like, proud of you. But yeah. I would assume the majority of people in Westeros cannot read and write. Agreed, they can't. That's going to be a major plot point later on. It's a major Maester conspiracy kind of offer. Was Rhaenyra's offer to wed her son and Alicent's daughter in good faith? Yeah, I would agree. I think it was. Yeah. Yes, Ethan, I definitely think it was. I think Rhaenyra saw it as a multiple ways of solving kind of her problems. 6, 7, okay. 8 for me because I feel like the next episode will be better. I'm like hovering on a low 8, like a high 7, I think, because I'm like, I really liked a lot of the things they set up and a lot of the characters, like their growth. But the problems for me is just the last episode did not set up this episode well. And maybe it's a problem of this episode did not set itself up well. I really think they could have done with another episode in between. Did anyone else hate the Laena? I think a lot of people did, Ian, or at least thought it was weird, especially just based on chat. He got you. God, you guys gotta stop. 8.5 from Glossy, highest score so far in chat. 7.2 from Sir Dirty Dan. Okay, all right. I feel like consensus is about a 7. How about this? Let's do pros and cons. Well, see, that's what I would do probably in next week's episode when I start doing, like, I'll do them on Monday. So, guys, instead of having the normal stream where it's Sunday, or Sunday, like, right after the episode, I'm going to do it on Monday. So, I think that'll make streams a bit more structured for you guys. Dragon Pig, that was funny. I'm not even gonna lie, that was funny. Like, I thought they were gonna like bring out just like a really small dragon or something, and a pig comes out. Like, what are we doing? Like, Aegon's even a dickhead to his own brother. But yeah. Agreed. I felt bad for, or felt sorry for Laena's daughter. Yeah. You know, if they slowed everything down, they really could have developed what we wanted and ended the season on the wedding. I agree. I think if they had slowed it down a bit, it would have made the story a little bit more cohesive. But I will say, I think they're afraid of not getting to the big stuff, that they don't want to spend as much time on that stuff, which, you know. Good night, Billy Bob. Thank you for being in the stream and your wise words as always, as you say, eat your liver with fucking onions. It'll be interesting to see Rhaenyra's dynamic as stepmom to Bela and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of goes, and all that. I'll also be interested to see kind of how Daemon. I want to see how Daemon processes her death, because it looks like Daemon really is affected by her death at the end of the episode. So I wonder where if they'll do anything with that. Like, will he be someone that is kind of pissed off in the next part of the episode? Maybe he fuels his grief into anger, or maybe he does something else. I'll be interested to see the way they play that. Also, I'll be interested to see, are we going to see like Corlys Velarion's reaction to her death, Laenor's reaction to her death? That's something they always did a very good job with in Game of Thrones. Is like, Robb Stark dies, we see a multitude of characters react to that death. I hope they do the same thing for like Laena's death. I think it'd be really good to see. Again, another episode where we don't see Rhaenys. You hate to see that. I didn't even bring that up, but we didn't see any Rhaenys. It's an L for me. Bro, Rhaenys is such a good character, man. And knowing what I know of what's going to happen, I want to see more of Rhaenys, okay? I want to see more of Rhaenys. That's all I have to say. But thank you guys all for watching the stream. Thank you, Ethan, for the super chat. Thankfully, our alerts work now, so you love to see that. And good night to all of you guys as well. Also, thank you for subscribing and joining the stream, Paxton Price, on your first stream. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll be doing all of these for all of the episodes. And we also do it for Rings of Power. I will say, guys, okay, for the guys that don't join the Rings of Power streams, if you want to see me visually pissed off, go to those streams. I rant. Like, there's structured rants, but they're rants. Like, I go in, okay? I go in on them. You think I'm hard on House of the Dragon? I go hard on those streams, but yeah. So thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you guys in this week's video.